listening to Dolphin Radio. For students, by students. Today's special guest is President Beck. She's here to give us a little glimpse of her life and what she does every day. Stay tuned and get to know your president a bit better. And don't forget to tell her you heard her on Dolphin Radio.
Our first question, who's your favorite band in college and why?
Oh, favorite band. So I loved Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, because when I was a kid, my mom used to play it in the 8-track. Do you know what an 8-track is?
I do.
It's probably in a museum somewhere right now. But anyway, she used to play it in the 8-track, and I absolutely loved it. So sometimes going a little retro is really high-quality music. Yep. And I like Beck a lot, too. He's got a really good name. Nice. Yeah, I liked him, too.
You ever find yourself singing some of the songs?
Oh, always. Anything I can dance to, I sing all the time. Not in front of anyone. And I definitely dance on a regular basis. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
So when you were in college, who was your favorite professor?
So I had a professor who really changed my life completely. His name is Dr. Norman Anderson. So I went to a campus very different than CI, and all of my classes were about 500 students at a time. So I didn't have that personalized experience and that mentorship. And so Dr. Anderson, he spent a ton of time with me in doing undergraduate research. And one day he asked me a question, I gave him an answer, and he said, "Oh, that's because you're a scientist." And it actually changed my life forever, because to that point, I had never thought of myself as a scientist. I was a psychology major. And I thought of myself as a psychologist, or going to be a psychologist, but I never thought of myself as a scientist. And just that one word actually changed my perception of my own ability. It changed me forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's one of those things where as faculty members, a big part of our job is to help you see yourselves as we see you, and also to remember that your words are really powerful. And so they can either really inspire and encourage. He didn't intend to say that, just kind of came out, but it changed me. It really fundamentally changed the trajectory of my career.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah, he's a great man.
And so following up with that, what was your favorite class in college?
Well, I loved them all, truly. I really loved them. I think probably the literature courses that I took. So I was a psychology major, but I had a literature minor. And my literature courses were so powerful because they really changed the way that I think, and they helped me to see the world in a different way, to really understand the human experience in a different way, because I was so much more on the science side. And so they were really powerful for me, but I loved them. So I took children's literature courses, which was really fun, fantasy, science fiction, African literature. It was amazing.
Do you have a favorite book or anything that you like to read or anything?
Well, I have lots of favorite books. I read a lot about higher education. Daniel Pink is one of my favorite authors. He's a psychologist that talks a lot about motivation and drive and understanding people. So he's maybe one of my favorite authors, but I read a lot about higher education. That's a lot of what I do.
What advice would you give to your younger self about college?
You know, I would probably tell myself to enjoy it more. So I was very type A as a student, and so I knew I wanted to be a psychologist since I was 12 years old. Very unusual in that way. I knew I wanted a PhD in psychology, and so I was very focused, and I loved all the academic pieces, but I didn't have as much of an experience with the social pieces. And in retrospect, I wish I would have had a little bit more fun and been I didn't have to be quite so type A.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. What would you think that CI's greatest strengths or weaknesses would be?
Well, strengths is no question. It's the people.
Yeah,
There's just no
definitely.
question, right? It's the students, it's the faculty, it's the staff, it's the spirit of this institution that is so innovative and entrepreneurial and so dedicated. I mean, and you guys probably see it, but I see it all the time. So when the faculty talk about you, their eyes sparkle. I mean, they literally sparkle, and that's really unusual. So it's the people. It's just such a great place to be. I would say weaknesses, resources. So it's one of the biggest challenges that I have is that our budget is not fully funded by the governor's office. Spend a lot of time in Sacramento trying to work with our elected leadership to help with that. But it's a real struggle, and you guys know it all too well, because as the state has decreased their level of support, tuition has increased because the total cost of education has to be covered. And so, the resources are really, really significant. And I spend a lot of time trying to find additional resources like public-private partnerships and donors and that sort of thing, but it's a real challenge.
Yeah.
Did you experience any personal barriers in college that you could offer some advice?
Well, it's exhausting, right? How are you feeling about finals right about now? Yeah, I mean, I think that it is the idea of delay of gratification. So the idea of I am putting in this work now and I'll have more fun later. And actually, I do have a lot more fun in my life now than I did in my college years because I was so focused. But I think that it's really it's the self-perception pieces, to really recognize that you are the leader that you think that you are. I think that's a really significant one. I mean, that's why Dr. Anderson changed me so profoundly, is because he identified it for me, and here was this, incredibly influential scholar who believed in my talent. So, I mean, I think that those are barriers that I think all of us face.
So, going into the next question, what is a typical day at CI like for you?
There's no such thing as a typical day in the life of the president. So, I mean, that's actually one of the things I love about it is that it is so varied. One thing that's consistent, I'm always with people, which I love. I'm very social, so I like being around people. So it can be anything from interactions with students, with faculty, with staff, interactions with our community, with our elected leadership, with our cities, with our community leadership, Washington, D.C., Sacramento. I'm in Long Beach a lot with the chancellor's office. We even have a lot of campuses as well. So we've got the campus in Goleta. We have Santa Rosa Island Research Station. We have the boating center. Sometimes I'm out there with the sea lions. So it's really varied. A lot of public speaking. So I probably have some form of public speaking. I would say 2 to 3 times a day on average is probably about how much I do. So it's always different. I never, there is no traditional typical
Keeps you on
day.
your toes.
It does, but it's really fun that way, right? It's super
things
dynamic and exciting, and it's a great job. You should think about it.
So why is it important to fill CI with diverse individuals?
Well, I mean, I think the fundamental answer to that question is that we've known for a very long time that diverse teams are more effective, more strategic, and more innovative than homogenous ones. I mean, there's a host of literature going back decades that tells us that. So I think the first piece of that is that our scholarly pursuits are fundamentally better when you have diverse perspectives really informing them. I think the other piece is that the world's becoming a lot more complicated than it used to be as it becomes more interconnected and more global, that the challenges that we face are also much more complex. So think healthcare, poverty, energy, right? They require an interdisciplinary perspective, but also very different kinds of individuals, a collection of identities and a collection of perspectives. Because if we don't have that, then we get to the same solutions over and over again. And I think that can no longer suffice. I think the other piece of that is it's also critically important to serve the community of which you are a part. So, if you are going to do your job well as an institution of higher learning, then your student body, your faculty, your staff need to be reflective of the community of which you are a part. So that's really important too. Yeah.
That's great.
So we have a bunch of seniors graduating in 2 weeks, us included. What advice would you like to give to us now that we're going out into the real world?
Yeah, the world's feeling pretty real over here right now too, huh? Right? Yeah.
A little scary.
Yeah, that's right. So, so I think I would say be the leader that you know that you are. We're counting on you. Be the leaders that will help us create a more just and equitable world. that's really why we do what we do, and love being a part of a university community and having time with our students, is that you are our hope for a brighter and more equitable future. I would also say thank you. Say thank you to the faculty, to the staff, to your family, to your friends, to everyone who's supported you, because it's really hard. As you know, you're about to walk across the stage. I'd be grateful, have some gratitude, and say thank you.
All the hard work's paying off.
Yeah, it will.
And it's all the people you've interacted with that made you, basically sculpt you. And, you walk across that stage, and everyone that's had an impact on you is just right there with you walking up, and I think that's just great.
That's right. Well, and the entire universe, my favorite day of the year, commencement, is just, if you could see, I wish everyone could have the experience of seeing you guys come up, the look in your eyes when you get that diploma. It's transformational for me. It's so powerful. It matters. It really matters deeply to the world, but it matters so much to the individual and all the people who are there. It's really an incredible experience, and I wish everyone would have that opportunity to see it.
Excellent. What is your vision for Channel Islands?
Yeah, so I talk about our work is really about reimagining higher education for a new era and a new student population. So that higher education, we're very traditional places, been around for more than 300 years, and we haven't changed a lot in the broadest sense of changing, because we're very traditional places. And I think the beauty of Cal State Channel Islands is that we have a collection of people who really want to reimagine what is next and how to prepare our students for the world that you will enter now and for the next, decades of your career that is fundamentally different than what it was a decade or two ago. It's in the midst of such significant transformation, artificial intelligence and technology and automation and all of those things. And so I think our job is to envision what skills you will need 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 years from now to really thrive in the context of that change and to become incredibly adaptable. I think we do a very good job of that, but I think that is the work, the immersive, just what you guys are doing right here, right now, the immersive hands-on experience that allows you to apply your learning so that when you get into the real world, and I would argue it's pretty real here too, right? But that you will be able to navigate that successfully, and I think that's the great passion that we all share as educators on this campus.
Part of Dolphin Radio, we want to be able to connect people. We want to connect people on campus. We want the students with the faculty, students with one another, students with different clubs, and we really see that as a huge step in beginning to do more of that.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate your work. Thanks for the invitation. Most fun I've had in a media interview. But it's great work, and it's super important. It's really, really important, and I think it will help. So, and I'm excited to see what you guys do next.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as you go out there and, right? Make the world a better place.
Yes.
Yeah, and I liked what you said too about this campus is you get real world experience, and that's the service learning classes are amazing, especially the market classes I've taken. They have you put with somebody that's actually like in the community, and you help them, so you make an impact on your community, but you're also learning, and that's I think just the best classes I've had here.
I'm so glad to hear that. That really is our mission right there.
Yeah.
And it is a lot harder to do that. That's part of why I say it would be great for you to say thank you to the faculty and to the staff. It is immensely more difficult for them to teach in that context than it is for them to just be a sage on the stage. But they do that because they care so deeply about you and also so deeply about our community to serve as a social and intellectual resource for them. I hear it everywhere I go. I hear it from all of the community partners who deeply appreciate and are so proud of you guys and what you will accomplish and have accomplished. So it's really good to hear, but I think that's our greatest strength.
Definitely.
How many children do you have?
I have two.
Children. And what
I have
are
two
their
little
ages?
boys, 9 and 11.
Oh,
and
that's great.
Yeah, they are the great, great joy of my life. Keep me on my toes, as you can imagine, through all of the things that I do here, and they're very proud. As little boys, are very proud of their mom and what she has accomplished in her life. So it's good fun.
What is your favorite song?
Oh, favorite song, Hallelujah. So I actually played that song. Well, I didn't play it. Actually, one of our students, Jonas Lee, played that at my investiture. It is a really powerful song, but it reminds me of my mother, who is no longer with us. And every time I hear it, it sort of takes you through the heartbreak, but also the joy and, all of the stages of love and grief and, wishing someone was still here. So I love that song. It actually brings me joy at the same time. It brings me sadness.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we have one last question for you.
Yeah.
Could we take a selfie with you?
Yeah, yes, let's take a selfie. I would love to.
Thanks for coming, President Beck. We had a great time today hanging out with you. You made us all feel so comfortable, like we've been friends for a long time. Students, I hope you take the opportunity to get to know your president. She's great. You won't be disappointed. Go and do your part and make it a great day.